Imagine being a 28-year-old, trendy young vicar, charming and handsome and full of charisma and, all of this. And it's your first AGM and you're supposed to give a brand new vision for your new church. And you don't know what you're supposed to say. I could say what I said last time. I had to give a vision for a church. It was a good vision. It was all about growth and everything, all of the stuff that you're supposed to say in these things. I mean, maybe you think that you shouldn't use the same thing, the same talk or sermon or whatever twice. I don't think that. I use old sermons all the time. You'll probably start to notice soon. I think that God can speak through the same thing more than once. I've read Romans 8 1,000 times and it still hits me. Neither death nor life or angels or demons or present or future or powers or height or depth or anything else in all creation can separate us from the love of God. Wow, that's crazy. Nothing at all, nothing can separate us, not even any of those things. If you think that God can't use the same thing twice, read that again in 10 minutes and get back to me. So, what do I want to say to you? Do you have a morning routine? I do. I wake up, it's usually about 6:30. Then for 10 or 20 minutes I have a big fuss with my two dogs. They're cuddly in the morning. And then I get out of bed, I kiss my wife on the head. She's not going to be awake for at least another hour and a half yet. She's got no idea. Sound asleep. Snoring. And then I go downstairs. I put the coffee in the coffee machine. And I press the button on the side to turn it on. Some mornings I hear Rachel's voice from when I bought the coffee machine telling me that I should have put out the extra fiver to get the one with the timer so that you can set it the night before and it turns itself on in the morning. And then I go into the garden, I let my chickens out, I feed them, maybe throw them some scraps I boiled the night before, and I watch them for a bit, and then I go inside, I pour a cup of coffee, I sit down on my sofa, and then I think to myself, what do I want to do today? And that's where my day starts. What do I want to do today? What do I have to do today? What work is there today? What people or things need my attention? What's in my diary? Have I got time for video games? Here's my question for you. What if, after someone wakes up, they fuss their dogs and kiss their wives and make the coffee, lets the hens out, and then they go, what do I want to do today? What if they said, oh, I know, let's go to church. I want to go to church. What if that happened? There's two things I want to tell you today. The first thing I want to tell you is that I want people to want to be in church. I want people to come to church because they want to be here. Or to be there. This is my office, obviously. Not because of an obligation or a sense of duty, not because you think that you're supposed to go to church, not because you come every week and that's just what you do. I want you to come to church because you want to come. So, if you don't want to come, if you don't want to be here, that's absolutely fine. Go home. Go shopping, go for a swim, go play golf, go play video games in your pajamas until 12. Go do something that you actually want to do. It's absolutely fine. You won't be in trouble. I won't think less of you. Honestly, we're going to need your seat anyway for the people that want to be here. So, how do we do that? How do we make church a place that people want to be? Well, that's the other thing I want to tell you. I want to tell you what sort of place I want church to be. I want church to be a place where people are loved. I want it to be the sort of place that someone comes when they need to be loved. I want this to be the place where someone who's just had bad news comes to cry. I want it to be the place where someone at the end of their tether comes to shout and to scream. I want this to be the sort of place where someone who's just lost a child can come and scream at God. I want this to be the sort of place where the kid from the secondary school next door who's being bullied can come and fit in. I want this to be somewhere an atheist can come because they're lonely. I want this to be somewhere where a gay person who's just been screamed at for their sexuality comes to cry and weep because the world is so cruel and intolerant. Have I offended you yet? I'm trying. I want this to be the place that someone who's just had an abortion and needs somewhere they won't be judged to come. If a sex worker needs a break from work, I want them to come to church. If a drug addict feels hopeless, I want them to come to church. If someone is considering committing suicide, I want them to come to church. If someone is broken and hurting, if someone is tired and struggling, if someone is hated and despised, if someone is looked down on and resented, I want them to come to church. If nobody else wants them, I want us to want them. I want church to be the place where people come when they need to be loved. And when people come to be loved, when they come to cry and to weep, I don't want us to give them the answer. I don't want to tell them how they should behave. I want us to cry and to weep with them, because their pain is our pain, and because we love them. No judgment, just love. And you know, I want to stop talking about church. I'm sick of talking about church. I've been talking about church for 10 years. I've been doing this now. I'm tired of it. I want us to be so busy caring about everybody else that we don't have time to care about church. When someone says to us, what's the best strategy for growth? I want us to say, who cares? Who cares? There's so many people out there, we haven't got time for that. There's so many people to love, we haven't got time for a strategy. If I've not been offensive enough, I want to say something really offensive now. Sod the growth strategy. How many growth strategies have we had? How many methods or techniques have we tried? At this stage, what plan haven't we tried? Sod the growth strategy. Instead, let's have a love strategy. Let's not ask how are we going to grow bigger. Let's ask how are we going to love more. Instead of talking about what we have to do to get more people in, let's talk about what we have to do to make room for all these people we're going to love in this place. Don't hear me the wrong way. I believe we're going to grow. I absolutely believe it. That's why I'm saying all of this to you, because I believe we're going to grow and I want you to be ready for it. But growth isn't the end in of itself. The point isn't that the church grows, it's that more people come here to be loved. And more people come here to love. We shouldn't want people to come because we want more people to come to church, or because we're worried about the parish share or church decline or finances or growth strategy. We should want more people to come because we love them. Because we are less without them. Because we want to know them. Because we want to love them and to be loved by them. I think that growth has become a false idol. We care more about growing than we do about God. We're more worried about the numbers than we are about who God calls us to be. Do you want to know something crazy? Something absolutely crazy? The Bible doesn't tell us to grow the church. It doesn't. It's not in there. Jesus says, go and make disciples, heal and release people, tell people about God, go and love them. Go out and love them in my name. And when we read Acts, we read that famous verse, more were added to their number daily. It doesn't say anything about the disciples' growth strategy. They weren't trying to grow, they were just trying to do what Jesus told them to do, and they grew. They went out and they loved, and more were added to their number daily. So, here's the new vision, the new strategy. Let's go out and love. Let's love people, and let's be loved. It's time to stop worrying about the right strategies and the right formulas, the right services and music and programs, and worry instead about being the people and being the community that Jesus calls us to be. Let's go out and love. Hey, worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, I'm gone in 10 months and my replacement can do a whole new growth strategy for you to completely ignore. What have we got to lose? Let's try it. Let's love people. Let's see if we can love people like Jesus loved people. Let's make our church a place where people come to be loved, including us. That's my vision for the church. That's what I believe the church is supposed to be. A place where people are loved.